Welcome to the Thornton Review, the show designed with you in mind. If it's important to you, it's important to us. Tom Harrell grew up in Niceville, Florida. He has lived in District 5, Escambia County since 1970. He owned and operated a small grocery store and used his earnings to put himself through college. He earned his bachelor's degree in education from the University of West Florida, his master's in educational administration from Troy State University, and his education specialist degree in educational leadership from South Alabama. After his internship at Washington High School, Tom taught at Ransom Middle School for 17 years. He then went on to become assistant principal of Brentwood Middle School, principal of Escambia Westgate School, and principal at R.C. Lipscomb Elementary. After retirement in 2006, he went back to work in the school district as math coach, district administrator on special assignment, adjunct instructor at Pensacola State College, and principal at Capstone Academy. Tom retired from the Escambia County School District with 35 years of service, 20 years of experience managing large budgets and hiring and managing large groups of employees. During his career, Tom received several honors, such as Teacher of the Year, Principal of the Year, recognized twice by the Escambia County School Board for outstanding service, and Master Teacher status by the state of Florida. In 2024, Tom was elected to the Escambia County School Board District 5. He served as vice chair during his first year on the board and was elected chairman of the board for the 25-26 school year. Tom and his wife Joyce have 3 children and 7 grandchildren who they love spending time with. Hi, I'm Pichelle Schneier, Executive Producer and Manager of the Thornton Review. Thank you for tuning in. Our guest on today's show is Tom Harrell, Escambia County School Board District 5. So Tom, it is really great to have you on the show again. Congratulations, because the first time you were on the show, you were a candidate for Escambia County School Board, and then you got elected to the position. So please introduce yourself.
Thank you. First of all, Pichelle, thank you for inviting me to be on your show today. It's a pleasure. I really enjoyed your show last time, and it's a good asset in our community, your program is, and I also see you at the school board meetings, so you're very active in that area, so I appreciate that. And you asked me to introduce myself. I'm Tom Harrell. I'm a longtime educator of over 40 years in Escambia County. I've worked as a teacher, administrator, as assistant principal, district staff, and been principal of a private school. And also taught at Pensacola Junior College for 11 years on Monday and Wednesday nights without missing a term. So I have experience from pre-K all the way up to community college, or it's called state college programs now. But so I'm trying to bring some of that expertise to the Escambia County School Board. I'm currently serving as the chair of the Escambia County School Board, and it's a pleasure. I love going to work every day, and I love doing it.
Absolutely, and I knew you would. You were my 7th grade marketing teacher.
Oh.
And I remember that class very well, and I remember how you taught and how you gave students things that they wanted to do, things that they liked to do, and then you gave them responsibility. And I knew you'd make a great school board member when you first announced that you were running. So congratulations.
Thank you for those kind words. I taught for 17 years at Ransom Middle School, and many of the students that I taught there are active members of the school district now. For instance, our superintendent, our director of high schools, our director of transportation, and the list goes on and on. A number of students who are quite successful in our community, and that in itself is a great honor. So I'm just very appreciative of all the good things that our school district is doing, and we have a very cooperative and cohesive board now that's moving things along very well, and it's just a pleasure to be a part of that.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you for that. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue our discussion with Tom Harrell. He is the Escambia County School Board member for District 5. There is no government-funded program that can guide a man's thoughts. Only God can do that. Company can install any type of fence. When you call and mention the Thornton Review, you'll receive a $100 discount on your fence. They also offer military discounts. Vinyl fence, wood fence, aluminum fence, chain link fence. If it has the word fence, Alpha Fence Company can do it. 850-586-8020. 850-586-8020. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to begin our discussion with Tom Harrell, Escambia County School Board District 5. So Tom, the journey from private citizen to elected official board member, can you tell us about your journey? Like what was it like being a private citizen and then all of a sudden being elected, an elected official?
I started that journey, Purcell, on January the 4th. A number of my friends had asked me to run for school board, and I said no several times. And finally I got to thinking about it, and I said, yes, I'm going to do this. This is a good way for me to serve my community. So it started on, I was a retired principal from the school district and administrator, and I thought there's so many positive things that I could bring to the table here and help. And so I started that journey. As I said, on the 4th. And then as we moved along, the campaign was long and hard. And immediately when it was over, I won by 60% of the vote, and I carried every precinct in District 5. Then came that hard part, that 3 months until you're sworn in. And that in itself was a little different because it's hard to describe. You have no authority or anything to do anything, but you're still kind of part of it. And you're also covered under the Sunshine Law because the minute you get elected, then the Sunshine Law applies to you. So it all worked out, and it was wonderful. The superintendent and his staff was very cooperative. When a new board member comes on board, what they do is they have you meet with all the aspects of the school district, and they were very informative and very helpful. And then when you take office, all of a sudden you're overwhelmed.
It's a full-time job, isn't it?
It is. There's nothing part-time about it. My calendar's full.
I'm sure it's a lot to learn. Even though you worked in the school district for 40 years, you know a lot about the school district already. You are a teacher, a principal, an administrator. I'm sure there's still a lot to learn. There is. It's a learning process every day. And I'm glad you brought that up, Purcell, because the first thing that happens when you become a board member is your training begins. The Florida School Board Association sponsors a new board member academy the first week in December. So all the new school board members in the state go to that so that they get the training to start out to kind of keep them out of trouble, all the laws and things like that. And that training is continued. Our board now has just finished master board training. It's a 3-day training, and so if you go in the school board meeting room, you will see a plaque up there showing that our board is a master board in the state of Florida now. Okay. And the superintendent has to agree to attend that as well. So it's the superintendent and the board members meet. It's a 3-day training, and they come to us, the Florida School Board Association does. And then when you finish that training, you're awarded master board training status. All right. So our board has completed that, which is a very big positive. And our attorney sets in on that because of the sunshine and makes sure everything's good with that. Because when we gather, we have to, there's certain rules we have to meet.
Then after that, when I was elected for board chair this past month, I just finished training for board chairmanship. And then also there's certified board training for an individual, and I'm about halfway through that now. It's a 96-hour training course. So not only do you have all your obligations as an elected official, then you're expected to do all the training that goes with that, which is pretty extensive. So it'll probably take me another 6 or 7 months to finish that, to become a certified board member. So then our board will be master trained, and the majority of our board members will be certified board members. So.
Okay. I didn't know that you went through all the training.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and it's very good training. Like we had a mock board meeting during the training where they throw different things at you, so you see that what it's kind of like to, when different circumstances happen. So that at the conference, it's a joint conference between the Superintendents Association and the School Board Association, and so there's a lot of training takes place there for superintendents also.
Okay, that's interesting. That's really good. So I think we have a cohesive school board right now. I think all of the school board members are kind of on the same page with a lot of issues that are important to the community and that are important to the education and well-being of our students and children. So.
It's important for the school board to maintain and the superintendent to maintain a positive relationship.
Yes.
And it's also important for the board and the community to maintain a positive relationship. It doesn't mean that we all agree all the time on everything.
Right.
But what it does mean is when you disagree, then you do it in a respectful and honorable way, and then you move on to the next important issue. The equation is this. Is this what's best for the boys and girls that have been placed in our care? And how you come at it may be different than another board member. But the bottom line is, once the board speaks, each board member individually has no power. The power comes when 3 or more board members speak. Then the board has given direction to a particular subject or a policy and so forth. We have to keep in mind, too, that school boards, they operate under policies, and the school board is a constitutional entity, and the superintendent is a constitutional entity that are equal. And it's sort of like the superintendent is sort of like the president, and then the board member is the Congress. So board members have these two primary responsibilities. Board members establish and set the budget and handle everything pertaining to it. And they also set policy, pass the rules that the school district operates under. And then the superintendent's responsibility is the day-to-day operation of the school. And he has sole and complete authority over personnel, even though the check and the balance on that is the school board has to approve those personnel that he's going to use to operate the school district on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I'm happy with the way the school board is running right now.
We're hearing that throughout the community, that the community, by and large, is happy with the board, with the way that things are going, the policies that are set. You can call them rules or policies. The school board do policies, counties do ordinances, and legislature does state laws. I mean, just as a kind of a side effect.
Absolutely. So when you first were elected to the school board, and I guess, were you sworn in January?
I was sworn in on November the 20th.
November, okay. Were you immediately elected as the vice chair of the board?
I was, and that's quite an honor. I was elected vice chair, and I had the opportunity to do one meeting during the year. The only job for the vice chair is to fill in when the chair is absent.
Okay.
And then when that happens, sometimes you have to sign some of the official things that the board passed. So it's a training spot.
Sure.
So immediately I was elected, and I was asked at the board workshop if I was willing to do it, and I said yes, and I was elected. And then this year I was elected chair. So I've been chair 1 month, and this will be my second meeting coming up on tomorrow.
Well, congratulations. I think the board is in good hands with you as chair.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So the rules of the board and the superintendent, and so you say they work together, and you just explained that very well. So academic success. Now, the policies that the school board sets and the things that the teachers teach, what What is the responsibility of the schools, and what are they supposed to be teaching our students?
It all begins with a strategic plan for the district. Our strategic plan.
And that's what it's called. It's called a strategic plan.
Yes.
And it outlines what is to be taught.
It outlines the procedures and things, and then when you get down the road into that, it begins to, through school plans and so forth, and benchmarks that the state have set for us. So the strategic plan is the operating plan for the school district. And then we go from there. Each individual school has an operating plan. And that plan includes that we are to teach the state standards, the standards that the state has established that all children in the state of Florida need. And as we teach those standards based on each individual school's needs. So it comes one big strategic plan, then we have school improvement plans. And then those school improvement plans, all of them come back to the benchmarks that the state requires to be taught. Then there's something called progress monitoring. The progress monitoring, we're on the second phase. We just finished that, and the report will come back to the board on how we're doing with that. Now, the first progress monitoring, the children generally have not been taught some of the concepts, so we expect the scores to be lower. But when we come to the second progress monitoring, then as a board member, I'm going to be looking to see at all the different sites how our schools are doing. We're about to get a report and see if they're moving forward or not. Our school district, one of the things I asked to talk about was what does academic success looks like. So I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'm going to segue into that.
Sure.
So what academic success looks like is, where were you 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, and where are you today? And I liken it to climbing a staircase. You know, if you're not
You have to graduate to the next level.
If you're not going up that staircase by 2 steps or 3 steps, then why? So the place to catch that is during progress monitoring. And in progress monitoring, if we're not seeing that movement, then the plan at the school level needs to be adjusted. And then you look at the different groups, your exceptional student education, your workforce group, those that are our low socioeconomic group, and then those that are not performing at the level they should, even though they have the capability to. So you look at those subgroups to see what needs to happen to move them forward. So what does academic success look like? It looks like, to me, as a principal, I used to say this to my staff, if you're not helping us move up that ladder, then what group is holding us back, or which area are we, which subject matter are we held back, and what are we? You're the people on the front line. You tell me what we need to do to move that. The more people you get involved, the better success you have at moving that needle. Right now, our district is 32 points away from an A. So let me just put this in, we're a B and have been a B for several years now. But we're making progress within that B range. So
So you're saying all the schools combined, the average is a B for Escambia,
our
District
district
5.
grade is a B. So,
Well, that's not terrible.
no, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So the superintendent and I were talking the other day. We can look at maybe a school here and pick up 4 points, another one here 3, another one 2. What's it going to take to get to that 32?
Yeah, you have to look at the individual
Those
schools
32
at that point.
points. Exactly. So when we get to the point, that it's the end of the year and we've got the final test results, did we climb those steps any? Did we get some of those 32 points back? Is what I'm saying that we need. Or is it 22 points that we need for an A now? We're constantly wanting to be moving forward in the academic, which when we do that, it's not just about the grade. It's about giving students the skills they need to be productive, good citizens in our society.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So is the subject matter outlined in the strategic plan by the state? Do they tell you what subjects you have to teach?
They don't tell you what subjects you teach, but they do have the benchmarks and so forth, the Sunshine State standards that we have to teach. Yes, we have to teach those. And we look at that and develop, the strategic plan is developed based on what we need to do to move children in that area. Like one thing in that strategic plan is having the best leaders in place. Attendance is a big one. Discipline is a big one. All of these things are part of that strategic plan that help us move boys and girls forward.
So who decides the subject matter? Where does that come from?
It comes. It originally comes from the state, and we can add local things to it.
Okay. And is the school or individual schools or the school district, is it policy that they abide by that subject matter that comes from the state?
We have to teach the standards. That is correct.
And there's no deviation from that?
Yes, there is some deviation. We can add things to it, things like that. But, math, science, social studies, those type things, we have to teach we can teach supplemental. We have all sorts of supplemental things that we can do. But we have to, the minimum that we have to do is the state standards.
Yeah. I know, I think in Bethesda, Maryland, I think that's Montgomery County, and maybe even in Washington, D.C., under the Biden administration, and I don't know if it's still happening, but they were teaching gender identity. So would that ever be an issue in Escambia County?
I do not think so. And DEI and
Right.
the other things in that area, no.
I know that other schools in the USA are pushing that kind of stuff, and there might be maybe a handful of people in Escambia County that would want it. And I think right now we have a board with a sound mind that are lucid thinkers who would not.
I can't
allow
speak
that.
for other board members. I can only speak for Tom Harrell, and that would not be something that would get my vote. Okay.
So I want to ask, you made a lot of promises during your campaign.
I did.
And you kept a lot of promises, and I want to talk about those, but I think we're going to take a commercial break first so that we can dive deep into the promises that you made and see if you kept them all. You've got to prove it to me.
Okay, we can do that.
So
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. The Thornton Review is a civic engagement show with a purpose to spread awareness by interviewing local elected officials, candidates, and professional leaders. This is information you won't get anywhere else. You can watch the Thornton Review on various outlets. Our website, thethorntonreview.com. On Vimeo, please follow the Thornton Review. On YouTube, please subscribe to the Thornton Review at the Thornton Review 7810. Please like our Facebook page, The Thornton Review Show. On TV, WBQP Channel 12, and WBQP on Roku and Fire Stick. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue our discussion with Tom Harrell, Escambia County School Board, District 5. There is no government-funded program that can guide a man's thoughts. Only God can do that. Company can install any type of fence. When you call and mention the Thornton Review, you'll receive a $100 discount on your fence. They also offer military discounts. Vinyl fence, wood fence, aluminum fence, chain link fence. If it has the word fence, Alpha Fence Company can do it. 850-586-8020. 850-586-8020. Thank you for tuning in. We're back with our discussion with Tom Harrell. He is the District 5 Escambia County School Board member, and he's doing a great job. He's the chairman of the school board. So you made a lot of promises. You kept a lot of promises. Are there any promises that you made that you haven't kept?
Not to my knowledge. One of them I'm still working on.
Okay, gotcha. So you promised to make the motion to put the elected superintendent back on the ballot. Did you do that?
I did that in February, and so this is going to require a little explanation here too pertaining to that. when I was campaigning, I set my foot in every acre practically in District 5. And everywhere I went, one of the number one overriding issues, and it probably was an 80-20 issue or maybe even a 90-10 issue.
I believe
that
it.
they wanted, they felt like that we needed to return to an elected superintendent.
Yep.
It was so strong in my conversations with my constituents there that I put it as my number one promise to the people that I would make that motion. When I took office, I spent the month of December, it was a short one, kind of getting settled in, and then I spent January learning the ropes, how to do a motion, how to get it on the board, and so forth. And I wrote the resolution to have that on the board, and it to elected superintendent to return to that, and it passed 3-2. Now, outside my district, there are a lot of people who don't agree with that. But the people in my district, District 5, they want that, and they want it as soon as possible. So the resolution that I wrote called for it to go on the primary ballot in 26 coming up. A lot of people didn't like that. They felt like it should have went in the general, but we felt like it should have went in the primary because before there were so many advantages in the other direction. My feeling was that this, if it is an advantage to be in the primary, then so be it. This is what Florida statute says. Florida statute says that the school board, after a period of time has expired, and I don't remember exactly, but we're well past that period of time, that they can put it on the ballot again. And it's the school board's choice whether it's primary, special election, or general election. After a lengthy discussion at the school board meeting, we decided it was to be primary as I had posted it in the resolution, and it passed 3-2. Then what Florida statute says, it goes to the county commission. The county commission set...
After the primary?
No, it goes to the county. They're the ones who actually put things on the ballot.
Primary, okay.
The county commission is the one who actually puts it on the ballot. Okay. And the law says they have a ministerial duty to do that. They're to hold a public hearing. Sure. And then once they hold that public hearing, then then it's put on the ballot as per...
on their agenda.
As per the resolution that was sent to them. See, we send them a resolution that says we want it on the primary ballot.
And then they vote for it during their county commission meeting.
During
and
the county. They hold a public...
They advertise it. They have a public advertising, and then they have their county commission meeting, their normal meeting.
And then they send it
on
over
their
to
agenda.
the supervisor of election to go on the ballot. Well, they had scheduled that public hearing, and then at the county commission meeting, they voted to table it, okay, for further discussion. And so they brought it back up. I don't know if they tabled it or laid it on the table. Anyway, they brought it back up. And so when they brought it back up, the vote was 3-2 to have a attorney general opinion on it. Okay. So
they didn't vote for it or against it. They just voted to send it to somebody else to make the decision.
So what they're now it's in the hands of the Attorney General to see. Okay. To see what's going to happen there if they get an Attorney General. I believe during the course of the discussion during that time, the Supervisor of Election had said that he had to know by May. So we're monitoring that situation closely. We're hoping that they'll go ahead and do their ministerial duty and put that on the ballot. So
the Attorney General has to make a decision by May.
Well, no, the Attorney General may decide not to make it. They will ultimately have to vote and put that on. I'm not an attorney.
Sure.
So I don't want to speak as if I'm an attorney or something. I'm just a lay citizen who's an educator, who I know a little bit about that. But right now, that's what they have done. They've asked for an attorney general opinion. So if they don't get that, then I don't know. They're either going to schedule a meeting or we're going to have to force them to schedule a meeting. Sure. Through legal action or whatever. And I'm not speaking on behalf of the board because that would require action from the board. I'm speaking as Tom Harrell. That's one of the motions that I would make is to go ahead and do that. So if they choose not to put it on there, then I'm going to make a motion to the board that we file suit to force them to. There have been 2 cases in the past and one other one that I'm not I'm not familiar with. I'm told about it, but there's been 2 cases where the judges have both ruled in favor of the school board because one constitutional body cannot override the choices of another constitutional body. So it's going to be interesting to see how this, but all this boils down to, we've probably got an issue here that's in our community that's kind of divided, and some people feel that it's an elective should be put on the ballot, and some people don't, and these are forces at work here, and that's the way democracy works. So
Sure.
we'll see how this works out. But as far as Tom Harrell's concerned, he did what he told the people he would do.
Absolutely.
I said that I would make a motion to put this on the ballot. The motion has been made. It's been approved by the Escambia School Board 3-2, and now it's in the hands of the Escambia County Commission to do their ministerial duty, and they're how do I want to put this diplomatically? They just haven't done that yet. So we'll see how this plays out. Okay?
Absolutely.
But we're monitoring it very closely. Okay.
So currently the superintendent is under contract, and his contract is what, a 4-year contract, or how long is that contract?
The superintendent's contract, I don't have it in front of it. I believe it runs through 20. I'd hate to say right now.
Yeah. Let's just throw a number out there for an example. Just say 28.
So
28. Well,
I
let's just
believe
throw
it
that out.
goes through June 30th of 27 or
Okay.
28.
Okay.
28 probably.
So-
June 30th of 28.
So at that point, the school board has to make a decision if they want to extend his contract or if they want to search for a new superintendent. Is that how that works?
Yes, that's
So
how
they-
it works. When his contract would end, then that would be it. I want to throw this in since you brought the superintendent up. Our superintendent is doing a great job. If you look at how he has the plans and things he's put in place that has moved the district forward, it is just phenomenal. We have made tremendous progress under his leadership. He's putting the right people in the right places at the right time. The school board has just had the opportunity to evaluate him. The evaluations were all highly effective, from the board, and so he's moving our district along. He's doing a good job, and I don't have that in front of me, the exact date. I keep that in a folder in my office with his contracts and things, but what I'm trying to say is I'm pretty sure it's June 30th of 28, and there would be an interim period where we would probably have to extend contracts or do something a little different there.
Yeah. So, I mean, if by chance, I believe that if the superintendent doesn't go on the ballot, or if it does go on the ballot, and if it's voted, 49 to 51% to keep the appointed superintendent, with the current school board, I believe that the superintendent's doing a great job, and we would retain him for another contract period, and everything would be fine. But if something happens, there's so many ifs in the political world. There's always this if, because every 2 years there's a big change in the structure of the board. So
you're exactly right there. That's the reason they call it politics. And every 2 years there's going to be a change of some sort. I think we have such a cohesive board now. I think things will move along well.
Yeah.
And again, I can't speak for other board members. I can only speak for Tom Harrell as one. And the chairman of the school board doesn't really have any additional power other than their one vote like everyone else.
yeah, you're just keeping the Roberts Rules of Order going.
Pardon me?
You're just keeping the Roberts Rules of Order going.
You're exactly right, and signing the things once the board has given directions, and the chairman of the board signs off on that.
Right.
I think it's going to. I do not think we would have any trouble with transition. I don't think that we're going to have any problems with anything in that area. What we need to do is let's give the people the choice that they've asked for, and that's being. I don't want to say this diplomatically. There's pushback in that area. We're always talking about let's let the people vote. Well, let's go on and put this on the ballot and let them vote. But they don't get to choose. Other entities do not get to choose when it goes on the ballot. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
The school board gets to choose when it goes on the ballot.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
So policy 2520 and 2522, instructional materials and media center. So I was kind of alluding to the instructional materials when I was asking about the strategic plan, if that has the
The school-
courses outlined.
Yeah, we passed a policy that says it is the intent of the school board that there'll be no sexual innuendos, any content in any of our materials sexually related, illicit, and so forth. You know,
Or DEI, I hope is included in that. But
the policy covers that as well. So I'm trying to be very careful here because we have two lawsuits in this. One of them we've won and it's on appeal, and another one is not. And so I have to be very careful here that I don't say. So I want to go back to talking about the policy, okay? What the policy says. I wanted two things in that policy. Well, yeah, I wanted at least two things in that, and there was a third one. But the first thing I wanted was that we didn't want inappropriate material. I said in my literature when I ran that we would remove the inappropriate books from our media centers, that I would work toward that. And one of the way to work toward that is to define what's inappropriate. And to me, Tom Harrell, inappropriate was things that related back to sexual activity and things like that. We have so much rich instructional material out there that we can use that we don't need that in our schools. And so the school board has voted 5-0, by the way, that it is our intent and policy not to have any sexual connotations, you know, anything sexually related and so forth in our libraries. The other thing that's important in that is someone needs to be held accountable. How did these things get into our libraries? So there's an accountability piece there. And now, under our new policy, the superintendent, the media specialist that orders it has to put it in, has to sign off on it that it meets our policy. Then also the coordinator of media services and the superintendent, and then it comes to the board. So there's an accountability factor there. So many times the synopsis, wherever they came from, the synopsis of these books did not tell the true story of the books, and that's how they eased in over the years. And so we got them. And now we're getting rid of them, you know.
And preventing new ones from coming in.
And preventing them from coming back. Those are the important issues.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that.
Okay.
So you return phone calls and emails. Somebody
Every
calls you
once in a
with an
while,
issue,
someone will call me like they did this past weekend, and they will leave me a voicemail and a number to call back, and I'll call back, and their voicemail is full. And I'll try several times, but 99% of the time, if you call me, like when the tax issue was going on, property tax, I got a number of calls, and I had a long list, and I was calling all back on a Saturday, and this one gentleman said to me, "You've restored my faith. You're calling me at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning."
Wow, yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that says something about an elected official.
Well,
if you promised to return calls and to actually speak to your constituents and you're actually doing it, that says a lot.
Tentatively, there is a town hall meeting set on January the 6th at Molina Community Center, which there's going to be most of the representatives for District 5 in our county will be there. So this will be my first town hall meeting there, so that's going to be interesting. The date is tentative now, but I'm pretty sure that that's when it's going to take place. It's January the 6th, okay, of this year. So what else here?
Well, you visit all the schools and you meet with principals. You work on a policy for legacy, historical, and memorial items. You review facilities use policy, and you voted against raising our property tax. Thank you.
Well, let me talk about the tax issue for just a few minutes. Do we have needs in our schools? Certainly we do.
Absolutely.
And are we in
That's what the half-cent sales tax is for, though.
It is. You're exactly right. And thank
And
goodness
you get state funding, so we...
You're exactly right.
And I hate to interrupt you because I love the way you speak. You're very eloquent and you explain things so detailed and down to earth where people can understand. But I always go back to the budget. I always want to look at the budget. I'm not a budget analysis. I'm not a Doge person. I'm not somebody who would ever be chosen to analyze a budget or to do an audit. But I can't help but think that there are things in that budget that could be done away with. Can't help but think it.
Well, when you have
really
an $866 million budget, yes, there are some things that can be done differently. and maybe some cuts.
Yes, cuts.
So
Cut it out.
here's what happens in the trim process. To begin with, the superintendent proposes a budget to the board, and then there's a public hearing. That's the first public hearing. So the school board either votes for that tentative budget or not. Well, people were upset with me because I voted for that first tentative budget. So when they'd call me, I'd say, now wait a minute. There are 2 more public hearings, and that's just the starting point. The final one doesn't come until the end of July, and at that point, you need to listen, that final one is the one that says whether or not your tax increased. But not a single citizen showed up for that first budget hearing. No one spoke to it. So when folks say, well, you voted for the button, I voted for the first preliminary budget, to get the process started.
Right.
All right. And so once the process
to actually look at the budget and to see
Exactly.
if everything on there is needed, to see what could be cut, see what could be manipulated and, moved around.
So the first thing, the first process that you go through is that exactly thing. You have these budget hearings and you go through them and every line item is explained and so forth. Not right down to nickels and dimes, but department budgets and so forth. Then when I made that final vote, I voted no, because I felt like and pushed that we needed to look at things like 1% across the board on all budget items, or look at specific items to cut and things like that. Are we in a budget crunch still? Even though we passed a tax increase, yes, we are, and it boils down to losing 4,800 students and $50 million in revenue and adjustments. And in defense of the district, over 300, I think it was 368, don't quote me on that figure, but somewhere around there, positions have been cut to compensate for that. So when you say that we need to make some cuts, we have been making some cuts. We're an employee-rich business environment. You either work with things or you work with people, and we work with people, so that's our biggest budget item. It takes up the majority of our resources. So when you start making cuts, you're talking about, are you going to make those cuts through attrition, as people retire? Are you going to hold positions vacant when vacant positions come? Are you going to eliminate positions that are there? Right now, the superintendent has a position in his office that's not filled. Most of the departments have a position that has not been filled. So
those are entire yearly salaries that go back into the budget as a positive.
I like what you said, which you said we need to look at those other things, and that's exactly what I was advocating for. But we're a Democratic board, and the vote was 3-2. So once that vote was 3-2, I fully support what the board is doing and trying to do in that area. But I was trying to get it to where we would look at it, some other things encompassing that.
I would be the same.
Nobody wants their taxes raised. And here's something else, Purcell, that was important to me. As I traveled through District 5 and was campaigning, I told people out there in all walks of life that I would not vote to raise their property tax unless it was something really overwhelming, like a natural disaster or a hurricane or something like that. And people reminded me of that, and I'm glad they did, because I made that promise to them. And part of that is the promise made, promise kept. So I could not walk into that boardroom and put my finger on the button to vote yes for a tax increase without vetting it much more than what we did. And so, and there's a process for that. I know that. But I could not break that promise to the taxpayers in District 5. I listened to the elderly people who own maybe small plots of land that are struggling. I listened to the young couples out there that have new homes and a big house payment, that they're trying to make. And that little bit of money that those taxes were going up could make a difference in those.
Yeah, it's almost like you never own your house because you're still paying taxes on. So. But it seems like with the population explosion, and I've seen the population explosion. You and I are basically from District 5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You were there since 1970. I was born around that time. So we've been there around the same amount of time. We know the population explosion. I mean, it has exploded.
Right.
That would seem like just a natural tax increase, property tax increase, because you have that many more people paying property tax. So there's your tax increase. Why are you raising the taxes when you have that many more people paying taxes, because it's just exponential.
There's some things that have to be considered in that. One of them is inflation. As inflation moves around, the value of property has exploded, and that helps a lot. But then the other thing is that the property value in Escambia County is different than the property value in some of along the Gold Coast and in Florida, and where Disney is and all that. The property values there are much higher as well.
Sure.
So the Florida Constitution says that all children have an equal opportunity to an education throughout the state. Well, one of the ways the state does that is by counties that do not have a large valuation of their property. It's called required assessment.
Sure.
And so we have, if we do nothing, then they're going to have a tax increase. Now, granted, it's going to be small, and that's part of that process to levelize the funding for education throughout the state. So even if we don't do that, but back to your point about the value, yes, it rises, and yes, that our cost rises as well. And if we have a classroom out there that has 19 kids in it, then at $10,300 a child, to educate them, then those costs rise up also. Heating costs, air conditioning costs, as it was mentioned at the board meeting. So you're right. Their subdivisions are exploding there, but also our enrollment is declining. And the reason it's declining is because of scholarships and homeschooling and that sort of
and vouchers.
Vouchers. We're down. I hate to say, at least 4,800 kids, from where we're down from the projection, and we're projected to be down again. So,
Is that percentage-wise, or is that actual numbers?
That's actual numbers. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
One
Are
of our
people just not
neighbors
having kids?
I wonder what
the
they're
population
having kids. They're choosing them to go to school other places.
Right.
Okay.
I get that.
So over in one of our neighboring counties, I want the name of it, the newspaper just reported the other day they're closing 2 schools in primary areas along the waterfront, the beach, where they should be growing. But the growth in their counties is in the north end now. People are leaving the beach areas, and so 2 in one of our neighboring counties that they're closing 2 elementary schools
They
there.
need to figure something out to keep them open.
Well, that's true.
To figure that out.
And see, we have a similar problem in our district because our district is very long and spread out. If you start here downtown and you go to the north end of our county, I don't know how many miles in. I think it's, but it's a long way up there. Yeah.
So you're saying Santa Rosa is closing 2 schools?
No, it's not Santa Rosa.
Oh, it's just a different county.
It's Okaloosa.
Yeah.
It was reported in the newspaper, so I could...
Sure, yeah. Well, we need to take a look at that school board. What's going on over there that they're doing that? That says something, that they're not doing something right.
Well, the point that I was trying to make is their demographics, not the demographics it's changing, is where it's the population, where it's locating is changing. So, and I was trying to make the point, ours is the same way. There's 2 directions that growth is happening in there's 3 actually. You either go west or you go north, and then the redevelopment that's taking place. Anywhere there's 5-10 acres, then developers, look along 10 Mile Road.
I know.
The property that's there and around Pine Meadow.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of redevelopment there, and they're putting patio homes and so forth. At my subdivision, there was like 10 or 15 acres, and a whole bunch of patio homes are going in there. What else did you have on your list, Patricia?
I have the superintendent's initiative.
Okay.
Could you explain that to us?
Yes.
And how it affects...
The superintendent has come up with some great ideas, and one of them I just love, and that is the new magnet program at Pensacola High School that we're starting for this coming school year. I think it's going to be a fantastic program. It's going to give parents an opportunity to have another. Let me back up for a few minutes. What we need to do is to provide choices that's going to lure parents that they're going to be satisfied with, to stem the tide of declining enrollment. okay, to stop losing children. One of those that's a very good one at the top of the list is the new magnet program at PHS. I've been over there and visited. It's going to be separate from the high school program there. It's going to have some wonderful choices for boys and girls, and it's going to give those parents over in the East Hill area and that area another alternative for their children to go to school.
Yes.
Another initiative the superintendent has is a K-8 initiative. You know, you go over to
Love
Longley.
it.
Longley.
Yes.
You go over to West Pensacola. You know, these are going to be good choices.
Brilliant idea.
And then some of the other schools are doing things to cooperate. So parents have said to us that they like this K-8 model, and so you can't just do it overnight. So
I don't
we're
know why you wouldn't
moving.
like it.
We're moving into that mode now with several choices. There were some others on my list here. Let's see if I can get this. We're doing we finished our study and we're doing Pensacola High School, and the Sims Cook one. That's one. Jim Allen and Molina Park, and then we've got Longleaf, Bailey, West Pensacola, and Cordova Park.
That's for the K-8, or for the that's for the.
Say again.
What are those schools participating in?
Well, K-8 model. You know, we're trying to
Okay,
move toward a K-8 model with those.
So Jim Allen is going to do that?
No, Jim Allen and Molina Park are we're looking at the maybe renewing the zone or relooking at the zones there,
okay.
that sort of thing. Now Cook and Sims. That's one that where the superintendent has thrown out there to combine those two schools. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. We'll just have to wait and see. And let me tell you what my thoughts are on that. Anytime you have a magnet school that's drawing parents, they're happy, and you got a waiting list to get in, why would you want to mess with that?
Right.
You know? So that's the reason that one hasn't gotten a lot.
You want to expand it.
Yeah. To combine it might not be the right answer there, and some of the board members are, myself being one of them, have voiced some concerns there and that. But the others I'm very comfortable with. Particularly, I'm very anxious to see how this. How many students we get to register for the Pensacola High School? Beautiful, been remodeled inside, beautiful facilities. The everything will be separate.
I know the front lawn and the front entrance has been remodeled.
Yes, yeah.
They took the steps out, and they made it like a slope, like a ramp. It's not a big slope, but they had to slope it because there were steps to begin with up into the school. And just the front of the school looks beautiful. They did a good job with
the renovations have gone very
inside.
well there. I know Mr. Williams, Dr. Williams is very proud of that because he spent his entire career there.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sure he is proud. Yeah.
So what else do you have on your list here?
So legislative priorities.
Each year, the school district develops a list of legislative priorities. They generally match up with the Florida School Board Association, and then we have our own lobbyists. And so we have that list now. It's coming before the school board, and it's things like increase our FTE funding 5%. Give us more help with pre-K, these types of things. And then we've got days in the legislature coming up, the 28th and 29th, that some of our people will be going over to lobby the legislature. So we do this every year, and it's good things, but we are letting them know what it is that we think they can do for us. Okay.
Well, it was a pleasure having you back on the show. I'd like to have you back on next year.
Okay. I'd be glad to.
Do you have any closing statements? Do you want to explain discipline really quickly? I know that you have a good structure for discipline.
We do. We have an excellent structure for discipline. And one of the things you look at is attendance and discipline, because if children aren't behaving themselves, they can't learn. And if they're not in attendance, they can't learn. So those are two importance in that strategic plan. And we have very good things in place to help us with that. I also would like to say the Escambia County School Board is, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again, we're a very cohesive board. The superintendent and board are working cooperatively together, and we're moving the needle for the boys and girls in this district. Everything is about helping the students be the best they can be, learn the most they can learn, and to be productive citizens at the end of that, whether it's workforce education, elementary ed, high school, whatever we're talking about. We're moving the needle in those areas and helping boys and girls be all that they can be. I'm proud of the district. I'm proud to be a part of it.
Well, I'm proud to have you a part of it. I'm proud to have been in your 7th grade marketing class, and I never thought back then that we would be on a TV show together and I would be interviewing you as the superintendent. Isn't that neat how just time happens and how life goes on and we meet again?
It
in a
is
different way.
where my seat was. Now it's in the center, but where my seat was as District 5 representative was my duty station at Washington High School when I was teaching seniors when I did my internship. So where I was sitting is where I
You're
was
back
standing.
there.
And I never would have thought as I was standing there watching the kids during lunchtime on my lunch duty that one day I would be a board member sitting there.
Well, you've accomplished a lot, and I appreciate that. And you're strong in your ideas and your policies and your thinking. So I really appreciate you, and I'm glad that you're a member of the school board.
Thank you, and thank you
making
for
our
inviting me
decisions.
on your show today. It's always a pleasure, and thank you for being so active at board meetings and so forth.
You're welcome. I enjoy it. It's
Yeah.
important.
It is.
The Thornton Review is on the air to provide public service awareness and intellectual infrastructure to our community. This show was made possible by Ida Gates Godly Teas LLC, Alpha Fence Company, and our guest, Tom Harrell, Escambia County School Board District 5. Thank you for coming on the show. And we want to thank you for watching this episode of the Thornton Review. Bye-bye.